Hello and welcome to SKR Yoga and Wellness. Thank you for joining me today on my channel. My name is Sam and I'm going to be leading you through a beginner yin practice with no props. So if you've never done yin yoga before, this is definitely a great class to start off with because we won't be needing any props whatsoever. So this is also a really great class to do if you don't own any props, of course, or maybe you're traveling and don't have those props with you but still want to practice yin. So all of these are really great options, which is why I wanted to create this class for you. And we're going to get started actually lying on our backs in a reclined butterfly shape. So lowering all the way down onto your mat, get nice and comfortable, and you're just going to let your knees fall open to the sides, the soles of your feet come together, and we're just letting the spine curve naturally, and your arms are just going to rest palms up right by your sides here. So just inviting those hips to open up, and you can gauge how close you want your heels to be to your sit bones. Wherever they naturally land is a good place to start. And so in yin yoga, we hold each pose for a pretty long period of time, anywhere between 3 to 5 minutes. And we want to make sure that we're not engaging any more muscles than we need in yin yoga. So we're really allowing gravity to do the work for us so that all we need to do is just relax essentially into the pose and invite that length and that extra space to come into the joints. Another sort of rule for yin yoga is that we do our best to remain still in all of the poses. So we're not fidgeting or, scratching our face or fixing our hair or anything like that. Just really resolve to be still in each and every pose. So we're adding almost like a meditative aspect to each position and each posture. So we're really just focusing in on the breath, coming to an internal focus on just relaxing. So if you feel throughout this class that your mind is really starting to wander, or you start to think of your to-do list or anything like that, just come back to the awareness of your breath in and out of the body, nice and easy. And sometimes I find that it helps even just to focus on any sensations throughout the body. So just being an observer to what's happening as we hold these poses for a long time. So we'll continue in this reclined butterfly, remembering to focus on the breath. very gently, maybe you need to use the hands to help you, just lifting your knees back up so the soles of your feet are on the floor. From here, just gently extend your left leg out onto the mat, and then you're gonna hug your right knee in towards your chest here. So bringing it in as close as you can, really feeling that expansion of the belly now against your thigh, and try to feel that that right hip flexor in the front of your hip is totally relaxed. And so in this position here, we do need a little bit of engagement through the arms just so we can continue to guide the knee in towards your chest. But the goal is to have that be the only bit of engagement throughout the body. So the left leg extended is totally relaxed, your feet are relaxed, your hips are relaxed, everything is just letting go. And it's just the arms that are guiding you further into the pose here. Continuing to breathe. And from this position, you're just going to take this right knee and you're going to cross it over the body. So we're coming into a little bit of a twist here. It's important to keep both of your shoulders on the floor, and you want your eyes to go in the opposite direction of your knee. So right now I'm looking towards the right while my knee is falling towards the left. And your knee might not make it all the way to the floor, which is totally fine. I like to keep my opposite hand on the outside of the knee just to give it a little bit of extra weight so that it can release down closer to the floor. And really feel that this twist is coming from your navel. Breathing nice and deep here. Reminding yourself to keep both shoulders on the floor so we have a solid anchor point. And to come back to center out of this twist, just power up the core slightly to bring that knee back to center. Maybe give it one last squeeze before we stretch it out. So now the right leg is stretched, and we're going to bend the left knee in towards your chest. Again, using a little bit of arm strength to just guide it in closer towards you. And once you find your position, just resolving to be still. So eliminating any fidgeting. Feeling that front of your left hip fully relax here. And continue to notice your breath. Notice any sensations throughout the body. Notice how maybe in this moment your right leg feels a little bit different than the left. You might feel that blood flowing throughout. And just like we did on the first side, you're going to take this knee that's into your chest and cross it over the body. Your eyes will go to the left as your knee falls to the right. Finding that nice twist. Keep both of your shoulders in contact with the floor. So the twist is really coming just from your navel. Maybe you're keeping your right hand on the outside of your left knee, just to guide the stretch a little bit further. Continuing to breathe. Just activate slightly through the core so that we can bring that knee back to center. Maybe give it one last squeeze in towards your chest before we release it back down onto the mat. So next we're coming into a nice side body stretch. So this one takes a few steps to get into. So first you're just going to take your hips and shift them over towards the right side of your mat. So we're not in a straight line with the body anymore. And then you're going to take your shoulders and bring them over towards the opposite side of your mat. So we're trying to make almost like a crescent moon shape. And then you want to bring your feet to be in line with your shoulders. So we're making a nice curve through the body. And then you can grab opposite elbows and bring those arms up overhead. So just intensifying this stretch through the side body a little bit. And you want to make sure that both of your hips are on the floor, so we're not lifting one hip off or rolling. You want to stay square through the hips. It's just the upper body and the legs that are twisting towards the sides. And then if you'd like to intensify it, you're going to take your right leg and cross it over your left. So you're crossing at the ankles here. And it might take a little, you might need to adjust a little bit before you can really find that solid stretch that you want to rest in. But once you find that place, again, resolving to be still. So take your time to get into it, make the adjustments that you need, and then once you've found sort of that sweet spot, then you want to stay, continuing to breathe, finding that length through the side body. Another element of yin yoga that is important to remember is that you don't want to go to your absolute maximum stretch right away. So if you could rate the resistance that you feel in your muscles when you stretch from a 1 to a 10, you don't want to jump right away to a 10. And that's because we are holding these poses for a prolonged period of time. So it can invite a little bit of strain into the muscles if we try to hold it at our max for that long. So you want to ease off to maybe like a 5 or a 6. So even if you're somebody that is quite flexible, you want to allow gravity to pull you farther into the stretch. You don't want to put yourself in your maximum stretch and hold that. And the more you practice, the more you kind of get used to where your body likes to rest for these long holds in yin yoga. And if your legs were crossed at the ankle, you're just going to uncross them here and then bring your arms back down by your sides. And then you're just going to recenter your body. So you recenter your shoulders, your legs, and your hips. So we come back to the middle. Maybe just take a moment to notice how the right side of your body feels. And we'll go ahead and even ourselves out by going to the left now. So shift your hips over to the left, and then bring your feet and your shoulders over to the right side of your mat, creating that crescent moon shape. Remembering to keep both hips on the floor. And then crossing the arms, grabbing both elbows, bringing them up overhead, maybe crossing at the ankle, bringing your left foot on top to intensify that side body stretch. And remembering not to go to your max right away. So you want to find about a 5 or 6 in resistance level. And then just with each exhale, feel that you're letting go more and more and creating more space through your side body. This is one of my favorite yoga poses. I feel this from my armpit on the left side almost all the way down into my left ankle. So it's a full side body stretch. You might feel something a little bit different, which is totally okay. Just breathe into it, allow your body to create more space, and resolve to be still. And again, if your legs were crossed, just uncross the ankles, bring your arms back down, and then recenter your body, recenter your hips, legs, and shoulders. And again, let's just take a moment here, feeling that length through both sides of your body. And when you're ready, we're going to flip over onto our bellies. So coming all the way over, and you're just going to prop yourself up onto your elbows. So this is Sphinx Pose here. And the closer your elbows are to your body, the more intense the stretch. So you might want to start this one with your elbows a little bit further, so you gauge what your body needs today. And remembering we're going to be here for a few minutes, so do what feels good. And wherever you end up landing in your Sphinx Pose, just make sure that your shoulders are plugging down and away from your ears. So we're maintaining a long neck and an open heart, open chest towards the front of your mat here. So this is one of those yoga poses in yin where you do need a little bit of activation to keep that neck long so we're not sinking in through the shoulders. This pose is really targeting the back, the upper and mid back, finding that nice extension. So we want to allow the stretch to rest here and not collapse into the shoulders. We'll continue to breathe and maybe notice how your belly expands and contracts against the mat here. Taking a few more minutes. And to come out of this one, just walk your elbows out of the way, let your spine roll back down onto the mat. And you're going to bring your hands under your shoulders, push into your palms to send your weight back, finding a nice easy child's pose. So toes together, knees as wide as you would like them here. And then you're just going to walk your hands out, let your upper body melt, forehead comes onto the mat. Allow your spine to just curve naturally here. Continuing to feel that breath. Taking this nice moment of rest before we continue. from this child's pose, you can use your arms to bring yourself back up to a seated position. We're going to make our way onto all fours, so shifting your hips forward, set your knees right under your hips, your arms right under your shoulders. From here, you're going to take your right foot and you're going to step it towards the outside of both of your palms here. So both hands are on the inside of your right leg. And then we're going to take the mat, just because we're going to be here for a while. I like to just double up, so folding the mat over and placing the knee on that double matted side here. Now from this position, you're just going to lift your toes up like this and just let your weight come to the outside of that foot. So just the outside of your right foot is on the mat, the sole is lifted. And then you can rest up here on your arms or on your hands, or come down onto your elbows just to intensify the stretch. For me today, I don't want to go quite so deep, so I'm going to stay up on my hands, but you do what makes sense for you today. Just maintain that external rotation of the hip, so we're staying on the outside of that foot. Your knee is opening up towards the side, really getting into that hip here. And again, just like we did in Sphinx Pose, make sure that we keep the shoulders down away from the ears so that we're not just collapsing forward. So we're maintaining a long neck and an open chest here. This pose is a little bit more challenging. We won't be here for too long. About another 1.5 to 2 minutes. So really resolving to be still here. Continuing to notice that breath. And now to come out of this, really take your time here. So first you want to replant the sole of your right foot on the floor. Maybe just lift and release the double up of your mat. And then very gently just rock your hips back and replace that leg. Maybe let's straighten it out behind us here, just allowing the blood flow to return to normal. And we'll set it back down. Right away, jumping into that same stretch on the left side. So taking your left foot forward, this time to the outside of both of your hands. If you doubled up the mat on the first side, maybe you want to do that again here, just to protect the knee. And then just like we did on that first side, lifting the toes, fanning them out to the side. So we're finding almost like a sickle here and just rolling onto the outside of that foot. Feeling supported up on your hands or down onto your elbows, choosing whatever variation works for you. Again, remembering that we're plugging the shoulders away from the ears. We're maintaining a long neck and a long spine. And just because we have a little bit of engagement in the upper body doesn't mean that we need any engagement in the lower body here. So still really sink into those hips, relax into your legs, and just let gravity do that work for you. Taking another couple minutes here, breathing deep. And again, moving really, really slow to come out of this. So first replant your left foot, release that back knee, and then very gently shift your weight back, moving nice and slow here. Let's extend that left leg out behind us. The ball of your foot is on the floor, sitting back into your heel, maybe stretching through the calf a little bit here. And we'll release that leg back down onto the mat. We're going to swing our legs out in front of us. We're returning back to that supine position. So coming down onto your back, nice and easy. And we've got one final pose before we finish in Shavasana. And that is legs up the wall here. So if you've got the space, if you have a blank wall, wherever you're practicing today, you can choose to do this with your legs all the way up on the wall. It's a little bit too much for me to rearrange the camera, so I'm just going to do it right here on my mat, and you're welcome to do that as well. And all you're doing really is extending your legs up right on top of your hips here, and just allow the legs to relax. Maybe you want to give them a little bit of a shake while they're up there, and then let them settle into a final position here. So your knees might be slightly bent, and your feet will be totally relaxed. Just let your arms hang by your sides. And we won't be here for too long. But this is a very restorative yoga pose. It really just allows the blood flow to reverse out of the legs a little bit. It can really give you a nice boost of energy, especially if you've been on your feet for a lot of the day. I find this really helps. Sometimes I find just doing this pose for 5 minutes can be more beneficial than taking like a 20 or 30-minute nap. So really just notice the sensation of that blood flow reversing in your legs, just dangling above you here. Continuing to breathe through it. We'll be here for another 2 minutes or so. And so if you were against a wall, you might want to roll onto your side to come out of this. Otherwise, you can just bend your legs where you are. And we're going to open up from here into Shavasana. So straighten out your legs. Let your feet flop open. Your palms are opening up towards the ceiling. And just let your body settle into this nice, relaxed state. It's really important, especially in a yin practice, that we don't skip Shavasana, because we've just done a lot of very intense stretches, getting into the fascia and some of the connective tissue throughout the body. And so we really need to give our bodies a chance to integrate and sort of recalibrate after all of that really intense stretching. So Shavasana gives us that opportunity. And what I like to do in Shavasana after a yin class is to really just focus on the sensations I feel throughout the body. So for example, right now I can feel my legs almost buzzing slightly after those lunges and legs up the wall. I feel really long through my spine and my side body. And so try to observe that for yourself, any sensations that you feel, and making notes within your own body. What has changed from when you first stepped onto the mat to now? We'll take another minute or so here together. Continue to make those personal notes for yourself. And I will invite you to stay in Shavasana for a little bit longer, but this is where I will leave you. Please, before you go, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. And I'll hopefully see you on the mat again very soon. Namaste.